Sorry. Classic streaming computers over there. Camera setup table here. How's it going, guys? Hold on. Let me get my chat up over here. Silence, what is going on? Cool Cylinder, hello. Ringtail, hello. And then I'm going live on YouTube. Let me make sure I'm live there. How's it going, guys? Oh, I do see. I appear to be live in both places. Hello, hello YouTube, hello Twitch. Let's see if I can come with the system here. I can see both chats easily. Pop out chat. USAF Wolf, how's it going? Pop out. Geekonomicon, what's going on? Twin Masks, hello, welcome in. Yeah, I can't believe it came so early. It's like over a month. I might struggle reading chats slightly. I've had some eye issues that I don't think are a big issue. I think there was like wildfires that causing the Toronto skyline to go orange, and I think some of it got in my eyes. So I've got an optometrist appointment tomorrow about it, but I think my vision's a little bit blurrier than usual. So I'm a little bit blind, but it's all good. But yes, let me know how it sounds. Can you guys hear music? Can you guys hear me? Do the levels sound okay? It's called getting old. Look. Yes, but not overnight. Not like this. I've been infected by something. Still out there of Spencer's car. I mean, it appears like tons of people are getting them early or like in the next few days. I'm kind of surprised. I wonder if they... Oh, let me turn the lights on. It's kind of dark, actually. That's better. I'm a little bit brighter now. Potentially too bright, but... Luckily, I don't have to watch myself. There's probably some micro scratching of the lens due to tiny particles. Eyes aren't my field of expertise. Yeah, I do think it's something like that. I do think I kind of got some tiny little guys in my eyes. A little bit of Celtic music, yeah. Not too much Celtic music though, right? Your ship today was kind of shocked. Yeah, I really am very surprised. So I've held off opening it. I got it around like 2:30 today, and I was doing a bunch of other stuff, so I just put it to one side. And yeah, I figured why not unbox it on here. We kind of know what's in here, so it should be interesting to see how it all turned out. Nath, hello from Belgium. Happy to see you unbox this. I can't wait to... Yes. Yeah. I'm guessing most of you guys in here who are interested in this unboxing are... Like, you've bought your copies, potentially. If you have bought your copies, let me know which copy you've got, if you've got the deluxe edition or if you've gone for the standard edition. I'm very intrigued to know. YouTube's so behind. Yeah, I hate it. I apologize. I think I've got it set to low latency as well. It's just, I think it's because I'm streaming, like my main stream is Twitch, and then it goes to YouTube. Yeah, we can do it. You want to do a test? We'll do a quick test, Rooney. If I say 3, 2, 1, type, put test in. So on 0, type test. In fact, have it ready to go. Have test written in the bar. On YouTube especially, and on Twitch, and I'll go 3, 2, 1, 0, type test. Okay, either none of you guys did it, or that's like a insane delay. An ad just started apparently on Twitch. Test. Okay, so there's an ad on Twitch, and then YouTube. That's like 30 seconds. That's crazy, actually. I will look into that again. Maybe I did do something on my end. Maybe it'll speed up somehow. I'm also saying that I'm on my laptop. Maybe it's a lot faster over there. Maybe it's a lot faster over there. One Man Relay, thank you for the subscription with Prime. Cheers. Yes, if you have your Prime subs, throw them my way. All the tests are coming in on YouTube now. No, this isn't a review copy. This came in early. As far as I know, there is no embargo on this, so I can show you guys. If for any legal reasons I am not allowed to do this, please, Darrington Press, let me know and I'll take everything down and and all that jazz. But I looked, and apparently the embargo was... I mean, they've shown all this stuff in their own unboxing on their channel. So if you have a copy of Hope and Fear pre-ordered, you can access the digital version now. You just need to go to your email. I think when they originally sent you an email about the purchase, there'll be a link in that email, and I believe you can access the digital version, because I've been reading it. Pretty good. Did my tracking update on shop? It did. It was pretty good, actually. It did the whole... Shipping's been created like 2 days ago, I think it was, and then it was shipping out for delivery yesterday. Estimated arrival today. So, no complaints on my side. Yeah, you got the digital. Nice. The embargo is over, but their Hope and Fear is not part of the SRD until later. They're saying around launch, so late August. Yeah, I do wonder if they made a mistake and shipped them out faster. Though I think this kind of happened with the main one as well. But they've kind of run into an issue where it's out. Like, I guess people were getting it delivered, so they released the PDF early. But there's certain things that haven't caught up yet. So there's no character sheets for the new characters yet. They'll be coming in the coming weeks. So there's a few things here. It's not like entirely out yet. It's another month for that. You have the PDF and loved reading through it. Ringtail, the freaking art in this is phenomenal. I can't believe it. I can't wait to see it in actual print. You just go to your order information, and there's a hyperlink in there for the download. Yeah. Am I excited for a specific campaign frame? I am. Honestly, I like the Wizard School one. I really like the idea of it. I'm not sure I'm not sure I want a modern world version of that. They've kind of gone fantasy high style. You know, there's like cell phones and things like that. But I should be able to change that relatively easily. But I like the idea of a Wizard School. I really do like the idea of a Wizard School. Might have shipped early to get people hyped for Gen Con. Maybe. Why won't they sell the art as an art pack for commercial use? I'm not sure. Probably because they don't want the art just being out there. I think they're very protective of their IP. And I think I've said in videos, so I've come full circle on this. I kind of think they should be. I kind of agree with them. The Final Fantasy Hexcrawl. Yes, the Hexcrawl one, I look forward to stealing the mechanics of completely. And then I've not fully read through like there's like a Bloodborne style one. There's like a Gothic horror style one. I think that could be a good vibe too. But we'll see. I think it's going to be more like I'm going to be taking little things from all the campaign frames. But I got to get through it. I got to get through it first. There's a funny Daggerheart Easter egg in the Castle High art. Really? Keep an eye out for. I will. Sorry, I'm only looking at Twitch chat. I apologize. Let me just do YouTube real quick, then we'll open it up. Carissa, you received the standard yesterday in Oz. Nice. Oh, so only a day early. Nice. Usually Australia gets it like insanely early. Can confirm digital is live. They said it on Reddit. It was on purpose. Really? What was their reasoning? Yeah, Gen Con maybe. Oh, Mike Underwood, by the way. Welcome in. Hello. Big fan. I think they shipped pre-orders early so that people buying retail early at Gen Con weren't getting it before pre-orders, but that's a guess. Right. Right. I can believe that. I actually never done a Daggerheart session as a DM. I tried the beta as a player, but now I have the core rule in English and in French. Still not played. Actually, it's not a DM. Actually, it's a GM, Nath. So, just saying. I have one wisp bit of hair on my right, just in case you want to use any clips for the stream. Wait, do I? On my... Wait. I can't... Hang on, I gotta look dead in the camera because there's a delay on this PC, and then I can fix my hair. Oh, you just mean... That's fine. I saw Henry Cavill with it once and he pulled it off, so... We're pretty much the same. The Gothic horror one I really like. I got real Van Helsing vibes from it, yeah. It's interesting because not sure how that will intersect with the Drakkenheim one. Yeah, I think when Drakkenheim comes out, and I don't know when that's coming out, but when that comes out, we're going to be eating very good. Also, Phil, did you know Ghostfire Games go live every week on Twitch? Was a nice surprise. Yeah, they do the podcast, right? Yeah, I catch them from time to time. It's good. Alright. Okay. My bad. Nah, no, you're fine. I say DM all... Dude, I still haven't got it. I will, to my great dishonor, use, like, D&D terms all the time. And after playing Daggerheart for, like, almost a full year, I'm going back to a D&D campaign now, before I come back to Daggerheart after that. And in the D&D campaign, I keep saying Daggerheart isms. So it's just something I'm never going to kind of, like, lose. Okay, so here it is. The Daggerheart Deluxe Edition box that arrived today early. And it is very, very nice. If you bought the original core rulebook Deluxe Edition, it's going to feel very similar. Cats can play with that. They're not monsters, they're adversaries. Yeah, that's one of them. There's a few others as well. When is she supposed to ship to us standard nerds? I think you'll get them any day now. I'm a standard nerd. I bought this with my own money. So this is not a sponsored thing. This is not a journalism like copy. This is just me buying this and being very lucky with it. So you guys should get it hopefully soon. Zainsis, you said I have the STD. Just so you know there. You said you have an STD. Okay, so I want to make sure you guys can see this properly. Standard box, very cool art. I actually think I might prefer this box art to the last one, though they're both very, very good. But it's just like a bunch of magical dudes fighting a giant monster adversary guy and some knights down here. Cyan, or this kind of blue-green color, is now the color of fear, and this orange is hope. A lot of people seem to have an issue with that. And then if I go like this, it opens up. Oh, okay. This is not going to be useful to watch when I say this, but it smells really nice. There's a nice little tab here to help me pull these out. And the first thing we have is the GM screen. Which is, once again, 3 panels. Perfect for a Hope and Fear tracker up here. And, hold on. Let me look at this fully. I want to see how different it is. I couldn't get my shipping thing to tell me any details yesterday. I'm trying again. I heard on Reddit that someone got it early and then someone stole it from their porch, which is awful. And my heart goes out to them. I wish it was released on Demiplane and Alchemy because of digital player. I feel like, yeah, it'll be on Demiplane very soon. But very cool screen art, yeah. So the real question is, has the GM screen got more useful info on it, Twin Masks? I'm looking at it now. I don't know. I don't want to show you guys fully everything on here, but just looking at it, it looks very similar to the last one, actually. There's quick reference, which is got stuff like what advantage and disadvantage is, how to help an ally, group action roles and tag team roles, which are really important. Then you got conditions, hidden, restrained, vulnerable, temporary conditions. You've got short rest and long rests, what you can do, and that kind of takes up this first panel here. On this panel, you've got difficulties, so like 5 is very easy, all the way up to 30, which is nearly impossible. And then you've got action roles, how to roll fundamentally in the game, and what success with hope and success with fear and failure with fear and critical successes mean. You've got some information here about adjusting battle points for adversaries, which you had in the last one, including stuff for improvising adversaries, which I do really like. So I can look down here and I can just kind of throw together an adversary very fast. What else is on here? You've got your character traits, agility, strength, finesse, instinct, presence, and knowledge, and what they kind of mean. And then on this panel, you have GM moves. So examples of things you can do as a GM, GM best principles and GM best practices, which I don't like, if I'm being honest. This feels like it's in the book and you kind of pick it up and you learn it, and you're never going to be in the moment. I think everything on a DM screen should be in the moment, what is useful while playing the game. And I don't think looking over and seeing hold on gently being too helpful in that moment, you know? I mean, maybe for some people it can be, but that takes up a lot of this stuff. And example GM moves as well. Could be useful. It could be useful, but I feel like they could... do I see anything about currency here? No. That's what I would have liked. I would have liked, like, you know, what does a handful of gold on average get you? It might be on here, I'm just missing it. There is a lot of here. There is a lot of information on here. So it's like reading 3 pages of the book and knowing everything on there. But that's something I will have to really deep dive into. Ooh. Feels very samey to the last GM screen from the last Deluxe edition, which is okay. Is okay. Getting your Deluxe Hope and Fear Porch pirated nightmare? Yes. Truly. Truly. Sad that feels like a waste of a panel. I'm sure some people... The problem with the GM screens, I almost said DM screen, is that it's kind of subjective. Like, everybody has different problems with different things. For some people, things come more easily than others. And for me, I will be like sticking stuff over this, like I have done with my last GM screen, which I think is downstairs. But I like stuff like, you know, what can a handful of gold get me, for example? Like, how much is a stay in the inn? How much is a pint of ale? How much is a horse? How much is a magic item? That kind of thing. And it might be on here. I might just be being a fool and missing that information. But I also just am not a fan of like absolute walls of text. I would prefer like less information that was easily to see at a glance. It is what it is. It's a nice GM screen though. Like the front of it, very, very nice. I think I will be using this one moving forward just for the look of it. Sorry, just catching up here. Jake, yours shows label created as of today. No movement yet, though. I literally got mine like 2 days after the label was created. I'm in a major city very close to the States, which is, I presume that's where it came from. So it might be a different thing, but it shipped pretty fast. Okay, so next up, hey, let me take all these out of here. This is everything in this top container. I'm very excited to get to the low container. So, we have character sheets. Very useful. Mostly character sheets and new equipment sheets as well. There's a lot of equipment in this new book. And loot and stuff. Then there's campaign fame maps and things to help run them at the back there, which is very, very nice. I found these pages of the original so useful, and I will be printing out more of those. Oh, and then we have these, which are the, I believe, the adversary pads. So you would note down your adversary, note down what kind of adversary it is. I don't know how useful that is. And then you can note down its experiences and what it can do. So you can just write on this and scroll on it, cross things out when you need to. I was doing this on just a notepad. I have a notepad downstairs, which is just full of random numbers and details about adversaries. So these are nice. I have 3 of them. There's actually a lot. Are these all the same all the way through? Yeah. Okay. So I'm never going to need... I'm never going to need another adversary pad as it is. I will definitely be using these. Very, very cool. The EU is still waiting for shipping notifications. Or has anyone in the EU gotten a notification yet? That's a good question. Is anyone in the EU who has got a notification? Jake, hopefully it won't be too long to get yours then. I honestly think simplified gold makes things a little more complicated than just having a number. That's just a me thing. Yeah, I know some people have bounced off that, for sure. As a GM, I like it. I think maybe as a player, it might be a little bit more whatever. But yeah, you can just you can change that to normal currency very easily, though, I guess, if that's what your table wants. But for me, I never liked having exact numbers because it led to, like, the players would loot something. I'd be like, I want to give you something. Here's, 2 gold. It would always be like these weird numbers that you just saying handful of gold. It takes so much pressure off, and it doesn't really matter too much in general. For me, I've not noticed any downsides to doing it. There's never been a moment where I've been like, man, I wish I knew I had exact number. And once you go down the exact number route, it means that, like, all items in the world have to have an exact number. All people in the world have to be carrying an exact number. And it's just, I don't know. I see why they changed it. I think it does make it easier for me and my table. Dragon Soat, you're jealous? You'll have it soon. You'll have it soon. Ringtail, you've been informed yours will be arriving Friday. Nice. I'm more often than not, it devolves into market manipulation and bartering tomfoolery. Yeah, I think it depends what you want from your game. Exact numbers when it comes to currency to me it's not 1-to-1, like it's way worse, but it's similar to counting how many arrows you have, counting your ammunition, counting how many rations you have. But and at some tables, like, depending on the game you're playing, that can be really fun to do. But I think at the vast majority of tables out there, once you get that kind of like granular, it just, all it does is slows things down, and in essence, you're just like, you have a large number of arrows, you know? And if it gets to the point where we as a table feel like you'd be running out, then we can say something then. And I think the currency is the same. It's just like, yeah, you have enough money to pay for a meal. You don't have to count it out. You don't have to do anything. There's nothing worse in other systems, specifically D&D here I'm getting at, when people have to convert Electrum to Platinum. You know, it's not a fun thing. And I certainly, when I've looked at like D&D currency, in my mind, I'm just like, just have silver and gold. Like, don't have anything else. Silver and gold will do. Like, you don't need to go higher than that. Don't go lower, you know. Get rid of the pennies. Canada got rid of the penny. Doesn't exist anymore. And I think the country's better for it. Personally. Nice, Jake. Yeah, go read the book. It's a fun read. Oh, some dry erasable adversary cards would be such a good product. That's good. That's a very good idea, actually. I want dry erasable everything. And you only get 12,000 breaths today. Spend them wisely. Yeah. Oh, and obviously, like, it's no exaggeration in general. Like, counting gold isn't like that, but I just feel like it's kind of a slippery slope, you know? They make non-heat lamenting stock that you can use for those dry erase episodes. Oh, just FYI. Okay. All right, let's see if we can get into the book. Hold on. Okay. I'm in, lads. This book's really, really nice. It does feel, because it is, a lot lighter than the last core rulebook. Like, holding it feels a lot thinner. But check it out. Obviously, when you get the standard edition, it won't look like this. Where are the tabs? There they are. Flat in the middle of the book. So we have the... Oh, hold on. Oh, I see. Oh, I thought this was damaged then. So, got these tabs, like last time. The color decision to go for this, like I said, this green or the blue, depending on the lighting. I think it's like teal. Very, very nice. And just automatically the kind of quality of this book, the initial quality, feels nicer than like most books out there. I know some people were complaining about the core rule book just being too thick for its spine and cover, and people were saying that they're having some issues with that. And they were hoping that this would be better quality. I don't think there's going to be any issues with that with this anyway, just because it is shorter, just because it is smaller. It's 196 pages, so I think it's like almost 100 pages less than the core rulebook. Yeah, actually disappointed that they used the same art for the book and GM screen. I would have liked something different. Yeah, I mean, this, you got to remember, this isn't the official GM screen. This is just like the limited edition version. I like that it matches. I like that we know that these two are linked. I do look forward to seeing what they do with their actual GM screen. I presume it's going to be very similar to this, but I don't mind. I think having everything unified looks very, very cool. If I put them all on the table at the same time. good God, it's beautiful. Yeah, Dante. No, this is very nice. And I'm not actually... I've read through the digital version. I was reading through it and I was working on my my review for it so far. Because I do have some thoughts. But I really struggle with PDFs in general. I find it so much nicer to read these kinds of books physically. I don't know what it is. There's just something about PDF where I zone out. But actually having the physical books makes a world of difference. But my looking through the PDF, my original thought was, holy crap, they outdid themselves with the art. Like, I think that there's changeling art. Let me see if I can find it. You guys not be able to see it from this distance. They also have these gorgeous, like, full-page illustrations of, like, these sketches of locations, which are very, very nice. I don't have a ton of them, but they're very, very cool. Changeling. Oh, sorry, not Changeling, Shapeshifter. That's my bad. That's because I'm D&D headed. This Changeling art is, like, some of the best art I've ever seen. I don't quite know why. It just made me feel something. I think when I was doing my notes for the review, there's something about the art in this book, more so, like the art in the core of the book was very, very good. In this specifically, there's so much color and vibrancy in the art, and it's always in action. It's always like there's movement going on and there's some kind of change. Action. There's always action going on. And it shows so much personality. Like, all these characters have so much personality, which you may be like, it's a TTRPG book, you're supposed to be creating your own version, maybe you don't want too much influence of like, you know, this is how they should be. They get around that by just having such a variety and diverse, like, collection of characters that you can't help but, like, not think that, oh, this is the way that all, you know, all humans are, or all gnomes are. It really does do an amazing job of just giving you this variety, which I absolutely love. Yes, the art always looks very dynamic. Yeah, but I think they have outdone themselves here. It's really, really nice. You really like the gnome's abilities. I mean, this isn't a review of the book, and obviously I won't get a chance to play around with it too much. I have played around with a lot of this stuff while it was in the void, but just from an unboxing and first look through it, two things strike out to me. One, it's gorgeous. I'm actually very, very happy with it. I have a few nitpicking things which I'll go through in my review, but most of the nitpicking things I have are because they spoilt us with the core rulebook. The core rulebook was so good that I think they spoilt us a little bit. I'll give you one nitpick thing I have about this. And I do question the choice of bringing out another book which is like multiple kinds of books in one. So you've got the adversaries in here. You know, you've got the environments. You've got the loot and the equipment. You have the character options. And you have the campaign frames. I think moving forwards after this, I hope that they actually start making individual books for adversaries and individual books for DM advice and equipment and that kind of stuff, and individual books for player options. Just because now I've got two books that are kind of like feel like there should be one very big book, or like three individual books, like a DMG and a player's handbook and, you know, an adversary's manual. I just think getting through this is gonna, if they keep going down this route and I get more books like this, it's gonna be hard to like find stuff depending on the book. For example, there are in the environments, it has some like potential adversaries. And some of the potential adversaries in the environments of this book are from the core rulebook. So if another book comes out like this, which we don't know if they're planning to do, then it's going to be like, what book are these adversaries from? But that's me nitpicking. Very happy with this. Cannot like wait to read through it fully. I'll get my review out. Cannot wait to like play with it all. specifically the adversaries and the environments. So we'll see how I feel after all that. But I'm quite optimistic about it so far. Super glad they fixed Witch's Hex. Wait, what did they do with the Witch's Hex, Twin? Hold on. Music is still playing, right? I don't like being this far away from my streaming computer. I could be, like, not streaming anymore and won't know for, like, minutes. Me buying the Deluxe was a foregone conclusion once they revealed the fear trackers. I Am Universe. Yes, I'm going to get to them next, I think. I'm going to pull out this little tray. You could also combine the environments and enemies in one individual. Yeah, I think environments and adversaries could be one big chunky book. And I kind of want to make a version of that where it's all the adversaries from the colorful book and all the adversaries from this book and put them all together. But like I said, it's nitpicking. It's nitpicking. Because there'll be other issues with that anyway. If it was all individual books, I'd be jumping through them to do stuff, and I'd be expected to buy more than one book. So, like, the fact that I just need one book and I get all this stuff is good. It's nitpicks. Okay. Let's see what is in this little secret compartment, shall we? Oh. This feels so much lighter than the last one. Open this bad boy up. Okay, so we have 2 sets of cards. My other thing is, I know they've said they don't want to do like bloat with like abilities and stuff like that. I'm worried about bloat with cards. I'm worried about the fact that in 5 years' time, I'm going to have so many Daggerheart cards. These are gorgeous. Gold plated, not gold plated. They've got the gold, the foil kind of sides. Very similar to the last ones. I don't want to open them up just yet, but the art looks fantastic on them. Of course, I'm gonna have to buy a normal core rulebook because I don't want to use these in game. Oh, okay. Where to start? Let's do the fear trackers. I think that's what these are. Read the PDF, man. They made such great. I was looking through all the equipment, and holy crap, there's so much stuff there. It's very cool. Which of the new campaign frames do you want to play with first? The what's it called? The Sky High one, the Wizard School one. Wait until adversary cards. Yeah, I'm a little bit hesitant to like. I mean, I am going to keep going down this route. I'm going to need some good storage for all the cards. I'm not a cards guy. I don't play Magic. I don't have like the infrastructure to handle an influx of cards right now. Has anyone been playing with their foil cards they hold up? That's a good question. I have not. Mine are still in the box. Binder time, yeah. Binder upon binder upon binder. Yeah. When information is on the card sheet, it is what it is. Because I like playing with cards. I love like playing with pen and paper, and I think the cards help that a lot. Like, for example, I'm playing D&D on Friday, and I have some people who are new to the game, and I wouldn't dream of like getting them to create their character pen and paper. I just wouldn't do it. So we're going to be playing digitally, going to be using D&D Beyond. It's just the path of least resistance there. But with Daggerheart, if you're playing in person, the path of least resistance is pen and paper, and I love it. It's like easier to use the cards to make a character than it is doing it online. All right, let's check out these fear trackers. I'm very excited about this. I have like an abacus set up that some of you may have seen. I do like that. The idea of like manually taking these on and off. Well, let's see how it feels. Okay, so. There's 18 of you in Twitch right now, so I get one of these. I get one fear for every person in chat. Unfortunately, I don't have that much fear, so I'll just put them all up. 1, 2. Okay. This is going to have to be something I'm getting used to. Just because it's kind of hard to see a little bit whether gap is to slide these on. But they're a nice colour. How do they look on the screen? I think this is a very nifty idea. Do they slide well? Okay, so I can still kind of use it as an abacus very easily. Okay, no, I take it all back. As long as like my players know which side is hope and which side is fear, I can be like, I'm gonna spend. Wait. Like I'm gonna spend a fear and do this. You know, I can live with that. That's pretty cool. How do you guys think that looks? My eyes are so bad. I'm trying to look at it in the monitor there. What are the icons on the fair trackers? I don't think there's no icon on here. It's just like a foil inside that gives it kind of a liquidy look. Yeah, there's no logos on them that I can see. They're very cool. They're very cool. They're a very good idea. You've no idea why they haven't released a standalone GM screen yet. This looks pretty nice. Yeah, it'll come. It'll come. I'm sure there's reasons. I think they should. Don't expect you gotta hire some more people. You gotta turn into a massive company. You've got to sleeve the cards if you're bare gonna use them. Yeah, if I'm gonna raw dog it, put them in a sleeve. Clear is your favorite color. Oh, so that's what an invisible wall looks like. Yeah, no, these are good. They might be a little bit finicky in general to like set up. No, they're not that bad actually. You just gotta keep the bag available, put them away. And there's a few more. There's 2 more things in this box. Yeah, these are a little bit finicky. I think I prefer like an abacus style one where there's like a bar that you slide across, where it's just one thing. I know I'm gonna lose one of these. I know a cat is gonna knock it deep under the depths of our oven, never to be seen again. And when that happens, it's just like, welp, the whole thing's falling apart. Personally, I was surprised they chose that color for fair. Yes, I think they've done it, you know, there's a very specific choice there to be like, fair isn't... I think I putting words in their mouth, I won't be surprised if they regret calling it hope and fear a little bit, you know? The hope part makes sense. Like, narratively, it's fun to think about, but really it's like player resource and complication tokens, you know, is what it is. But the idea that fear isn't a bad thing is a hard marketing sell, and it's the route they're going down currently. Like, I think experienced GMs get it. We understand. But if you're new to the game, it's like a different way of thinking about fear. All right, before we get into what's heavier, let's do this one first. Where is the chat gone? Yeah, just so you guys know, the current setup is that my PC with all my OBS and my chats, the combined chat and everything like that, is all the way over that side of the room, and it's linked by cables leading all across the place. It's a death trap here to the camera over there, and then I've just got like the chats up on my laptop here, so I've had to like have YouTube and Twitch chat up separately, and if I click anywhere or do anything with this laptop, it ruins the whole system. So complication tokens is a good way to put it. Yeah, or plot points, plot tokens, something like that. But yeah, I think Down to Press is just catching up to the sheer demand the game has. Yeah, most likely. Yeah, it's also, I don't know why I'm defending them so hard. It's not like we're attacking them hard, but when it comes to Down to Press, they are like a small company, and they are trying to grow. We've seen them hire big names over the past year and expand. And with that, with just growing, if you've ever worked for a company that like has hired a bunch of people on or had an influx of capital that they're then like pumping back into the company, there's just a big chunk of time where the company has to adapt to the successful version of itself. Not that Down to Press wasn't successful, but certainly Daggerheart has like blown them away, like it's blown everyone else away because it's so popular. So I think I'm very like patient with them in general while they figure stuff out, because this is the most dangerous time for them. No pressure, Down to Press, but like this is the time where you kind of have to do everything right and take a very successful launch and make sure that that wasn't a fluke, and just keep that going and become a company that sticks around for, 50 years rather than 3 years. You really don't need fear to activate adversaries. Just use soft moves. It's more satisfying. What, you mean just have them move around and stuff and not do anything too big? Yeah. I mean, complications are one use yet, but activating adversaries is a big part too. Yeah, I would say adversaries doing stuff is a complication though, I think complication tokens works. The first year order of Daggerheart was probably based off Candela Obscura sales numbers. Yeah, I think they were probably expecting it to do okay, just not what it did. Like, have you seen recently all the stuff coming out of like Daggerheart just doing very, very well across multiple like spectrums? It's nice. It is nice. Okay, so in this bag, and I apologize for not having like another camera that I can cut to show you close-ups here. Oh, okay. So in this bag, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 duality dice, and they're the weird shape, which I love. I have a issue with my duality dice, though. I hope I can get my players to use these, because the original Deluxe edition of the core rulebook came with like really nice duality dice, and I keep trying to get my players to use them, but they all have their kind of favorite dice sets already. They've gone and got their own D12s. No one wants to use my nice dice, and now I've got even more really nice dice, so hopefully they use them. These are way too close in color. They are a different color, but these are way too close in color. Yeah, no one's using those two. But the rest, very, very solid. I like the blue one. I like the blue one for my hope, and the red one for my fear. The classics. Yeah, those will be my two. There's also just like a black and white one. Very good stuff. The dice goblin in me is gleaming at those, yes. Fortunately, my wife is the user of the original set and probably will use these. Yeah, I might force my players to use them. Otherwise, I'll get lonely. That's the biggest crime of Daggerheart. I understand why they did it, but the fact that GMs never really used duality dice. Crime. I guess I could just use them as D12s. I identify fear as a striking yellow. That's interesting. I wonder what influenced you. I think my idea of hope and fear, like good guys, bad guys, has mostly been influenced by Star Wars, you know? And it's the red lightsaber and the blue or green lightsaber is kind of what's internalized in my head, for better or worse. Okay, let's take a look at this bag. Can you tell me if the Warlock has unlimited favor on the character sheet? The way the ability is worded in the PDF seems like it could be the case, but I doubt it. It does have unlimited... sorry, it has limited favor. It has 6, I think, on the character sheets. I saw a Reddit post about it earlier. Someone else chimed in. Apparently, it's solid. They do not have unlimited. Ooh, okay. So, in this bag is just a full-on dice set. D4, D6. Oh, the D12 is shaped a little bit weird. D10. That's not D10. I'm losing my mind. D10. D100. Oh, I see. I've got duality dice again in this dice set, so I guess players can use this as well. And then a chunky D20, which I like a lot. Hold on. Doesn't roll very well, though. Yeah. Mostly for the art. The art is so good on these. It almost feels like a crime to have it so small. Oh, the transformation cards. The ghost art is phenomenal, by the way. I do like the ghost art. Shapeshift art, you guys know how I feel about that. I love it. And then the new domain. In total, very few... Oh my god, the damnation art. For the spell... the spell damnation. Very, very cool. I think all this art is in the book. I hope, at least. Maybe not. Some of this stuff I don't recognize. I'm opening both. It's Christmas morning. If I can get into this one. You really like the reanimated? Yeah. They're fun, but I'll never use chunky D20s. Yeah, this one's not too bad. That's a nat 20. That is nat 20. How do I get into this one? How come the last one was so easy? There we go. I don't know if you can see the gold on it. It is nice. It is very, very nice. Yes, Hedge Witch, Moon Witch, and then the new species, or ancestors, I should say. Very, very, very cool. Okay, let me start slotting these back in. Does anyone have any questions about anything they want to see in particular? Gold leaf outline in the book and DM screen is cool too. It really is. Yeah. Yeah, the gold borders are incredible. Yeah. They are. They're very, very nice. It's going to be hard to ever use these. Yellow eyes are common in villains unless you're Inuyasha or Edward Elric. Yeah, true that, true that. The book is gold foil too. Yeah, I'll show you the book. I'll give you like an I'll come over. I'll come over to you. You guys don't move. I'll come to you. 1 second. Fair trackers. Alright, so here, 1 second. So the foil isn't like, it's not the pages, it's just like round here and then like up here as well. It's got some gold to it. I can't quite see what I'm showing you, but I think you can see it. Probably see the reflection of it. Down here, and then the gem screen has the same thing. So it's nice. It is nice. Phil, we can't hear you really. Can you hear me now? You're a real fan of the new colours. Bean Boy, we've had other people say they're not really a fan. But I do like them. I like how it's very much differentiated from the old colours as well. Plus, it opens the door for next time to do like a full like green versus red kind of color system, which I like. Because I actually didn't like, was it yellow and purple last time? I wasn't a huge fan of those two colors. I prefer these ones, I think. Phil, I thought your name was first name bonus, last name reaction. I've been doxxed. I've been doxxed. Phil is my middle name, so it's bonus Phil reaction. Is that a little dent in the cover from the chunky dice? Don't say that. Did I dent it? Are you messing with me? Is this like when you guys convinced me I had a dent in my own head? No, there's no dent. There's no dent. Get out of here. Get. Well, never opening that book again. I'm getting fingerprints over it. So, here, let me. Put that in there. I can't express enough, and I know it's weird, how nice this smells. Oh yeah, that's some good book. That is some good book smell right there. Nope, I need to leave that out. The character sheets, by the way, what was the question? It was Warlock, right? Let me double check. So Warlock has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 favor down here. Yeah, 6 is the cap, at least as far as the character sheet's concerned. These adversary guys. Wait, how? Oh. Little puzzle. Just a little puzzle box. Oh, there she is. There she is. Yellow and purple are opposite of each other on the color wheel, so they complement each other more than you'd think. What's the opposite of this weird teal color? Do you think that's a huge fear of mine when I have a new book? Everything must stay away from it in case the cover gets deformed in any way. Yeah. That was mean. Funny but mean. Oh man, when you said that, when you said the dent, I really thought I had done something. I got the special and regular editions so I can look at how beautiful it is. Yeah, I'm going to be buying the regular edition when I can get it from my game store. It's what I did last time. I did the exact same thing last time. It is what it is. This is more, honestly, for my collection. Maybe I'll use the cards. I've got... If I sleeve the cards, I can sleeve them and it's not a big issue. But equally, I can just print out some crappy alternative versions of the cards on A4 paper and cut them out and give them to my players. So, you know. But I will be using the GM screen. I will be using the dice. I will be using the fear tracker. I will be using the adversary tokens and the card sheets and all that stuff. Funnily enough, the thing in here that's going to get the least use is probably the cards. I will be using the book because I want to read the whole damn thing over the next few days. But once I get like another version of it, I'll probably just use that book instead. Yeah, these things are made to be used. Yeah. I mean, this is a collector's edition, so you could argue it's made to be collected. Just saying. Just saying. Download is available for download. Yes. Yeah, you can download the PDF now if you have bought it. Yeah, just go to your website account and look at your order, and it should have a download book option. Yeah, I think I got an email, or I think someone on Reddit said something. I can't quite remember, but I was very surprised when I could access the PDF yesterday. Not mad though. Oh, there's a very cool fairy on here that I've just seen. This is the kind of art I love, where it's like you know, you kind of every time you look at it, you kind of see something new. So you got a fairy, you got a witch. Man, yeah, it's cool, very very cool. Joanna, your favorite combination of colors is purple and green, especially bluish green and bluish purple, as those are my favorite colors. But purple and yellow is also very high on my list. Yeah. Is someone breaking into my house right now? 1 second. I think my wife's home and she's struggling with the front door. No. Perhaps a ghoul, or a ghost, or some kind of intruder was trying to get in. Huh. I'm sure there was someone... I'm not going to think about it. But if I get murdered, we know they came through the front door. What's going on? Hey Hey there, how goes it? Happy Wednesday to you, James. Happy Wednesday to you too. Have I seen the free RPG Daggerheart Dying Spire Adventure? I have not yet. I have not. Guys, we are legally allowed to steal the box. Commence operation. If this is... yeah, imagine. Oh, man. I thought my wife was breaking into their house. Sometimes she forgets her keys. And we'll just keep, like, trying the door until I come. Jake, I'm new here. Have you looked at Draw Steel? I'm curious how it feels compared to Daggerheart. I have not looked into Draw Steel in any big way. I've certainly not played it. What I do know is that people seem to really like it. So it's obviously doing a lot of stuff right. I also hear that it is more on the crunchier side. So if we use D&D as like the industry standard, which love it or hate it, it kind of is. It's the most popular game. I think its crunchiness is kind of in the middle. I think Daggerheart is a little bit less crunchy. Still crunchy, but a little bit less. And from what I heard, Draw Steel is more. Why do they all begin with D? Why are they doing that? Why do they all begin with D? Yeah, so I think if you like crunchier games, I think you'll probably love Draw Steel from what I hear. Like, people who like those like crunchier games love that system. I personally don't. I sometimes wish D&D was a little bit less crunchy. I like some tactical play, but I just I don't love just rules upon rules upon rules to learn, and I like my combat to be a little bit snappier and a little bit faster, and I don't think Draw Steel will do that for me. I think Draw Steel might make combat a little bit longer, but like more fulfilling for like tacticians. So yeah, but I do want to try it at some point. I don't want to be the director, I think they're called in Draw Steel. I don't want to GM it. I want to be a player. I just need to find a group. Yo, how'd you get this so early? I think living in Canada, got me this so early. I did nothing different. I bought it online, like when it was announced many moons ago, and maybe I just lucked out. I'm not sure. It was one of you guys, but you got spooked. Yeah, I really thought someone was. So, for those who don't know, I usually wear a hearing aid. So my hearing in my right ear is really bad. It is like nat 1 bad. I mean, I can still hear out of it a little bit, but certainly I normally have a hearing aid. But they took my hearing aid from me. They took it. And by them, I mean the hearing aid people. The people who gave me the hearing aid took my hearing aid. They're doing some tests on it to make sure it works and everything. So I'm hearing aidless for a few days. So sometimes I kind of just don't hear things, and other times I think I'm hearing things. So that whole thing of me thinking that could be someone breaking into my house, probably a figment of my imagination. That's the reality I'm choosing to live in, at least. Because then the alternative, someone's trying to break into my house. I don't want to live in that world. Have you opened it yet? Jibby, have you just walked in? Has anyone just walked into the chat and haven't seen me open this up? I might do another run through with it, but yeah, if people want to see it again. Yeah, I've been through it all. We opened it up. We got it. We dented it. I got fingerprints all over it. It's beautiful. It's very, very cool. I can't wait to play some games. Also, Draw Steel combat can be faster than D&D once you get it. Good to know. Good to know. It might be a little bit more complicated, but it's much more internally consistent. Yeah. Yeah, I've heard very good things about it. I think there's a world where it can sit in that same world. Like, There's a world where all these games can live in harmony because they're all different enough from each other, which is nice. Ah, no, A. Canada Dweller. I'm in the Golden Horseshoe as well. Why is it called the Golden Horseshoe? What's going on with that? As well, good thing you didn't need your pacemaker adjusted. Yeah, they full on took it away from me. They're just like, we'll need it for a few days. I'm like, cool. Because originally, they're asking for it next week, and I'm going to like an orchestra concert thing next week. And I was just like, I can't do. I need it. I need it for like hearing and stuff. So I got them to do it this week, where I wasn't doing anything. D is the industry standard letter for TTRPGs, you see. Oh, I was not aware it was the industry standard. Are there any OSR games you found interesting? Honestly, James, I haven't branched out too much. I am kind of dumb. I'm smart in some ways, but certainly when it comes to learning games, it takes me a while. Unfortunately. So I've not branched out. I'm kind of like try to master the games and then before I move on to other stuff. So I'm not the best font of knowledge for the many TRPGs out there. D is for dice. That makes sense. Sushi, that makes sense. Question. I've been asking a lot of the podcasts I listen to. Should difficulty be transparent to players? Is 100% of the time transparent, never transparent, somewhere in the middle? If in the middle, where should it be? Or should it not be transparent? You possibly have answered this in other videos, but it's a topic. So I presume this is a good question. If anyone has any questions just about other stuff as well, I'm down to clown. Yeah, so the idea of letting your players know what they need to roll before they roll it, or even taking it to the next level and telling them what's going to happen, right? You could be like, okay, roll to see if you can steal that item. If you get higher than a 10, you succeed and you get the item and no one notices. Lower than a 10, you don't succeed. The guard notices you and will pull out a knife and attack you. You know, letting them know those two options before they choose to roll is kind of the next level up. And obviously on a scale, you might have a lot more options within that than normal. My take on this is, obviously, it's a game. Play however you want to play. Everyone has different styles. But if I was gonna get granular on my thoughts here, it is on roles where players should probably know, like if they're not really thinking about the consequences of this action fully, or if they just want to roll on something and they think it's going to be an easy roll, but in your mind it's not, then let them know the roll. Like in those scenarios, more information for the players is better. And you can kind of just get that vibe from them. You know, if they're like, oh man, I'm just going to pickpocket the king, and they think you're going to throw a 12 at them, but in your mind you're thinking 18 difficulty, let them know. And you don't have to let them know the number. You can be like, this is going to be a hard roll, just so you know. I think that's very important to do. If it's just a roll where they kind of are expecting the stakes, if it's like an average roll or whatever, I don't think you need to do it as much. I think variety is always the way forwards. It's certainly how I like to play. Sometimes do it, sometimes don't do it, just to keep the players on their toes and just for you to have a little bit more fun. There are some tables who will never do it. I respect that. There are some tables who may always do it. I respect that too. The idea that like players shouldn't know so it doesn't affect their thinking because it's metagaming in a big way. I respect that and I understand it. And then the other thought process of players should always know. It should be like an open, honest dialogue between player and GM. Like, help the players make decisions. Also, it makes rolls more exciting if they get to know the number beforehand. because then they're not like rolling and looking to the GM to see if they succeeded or not. They know if they're going to succeed, and then the dice are the things that decide it for them, if that makes sense. But yeah, I think it's silly to have a very hard stance where you're like, this is the way we should play these games. But outside of that, experiment, see what works. What's my favorite difference between Daggerheart and D&D? I think going back into a D&D game now after playing Daggerheart for like a year, I have immediately noticed that, I'm not saying everyone, this is going to be for everyone, but for me personally, I've immediately noticed that I feel the need to do a lot more prep for D&D. Like, a lot more. So, like, I have my first game back in D&D. We're doing a Ravenloft game on Friday, and I think almost every night I've opened up a Word doc and I've put some ideas for the campaign in there, and I have come up with plot points and cool stories that they could go down, you know? I'm not railroading them, but if they do go down one of these paths, I want there to be like a compelling like thread for them to follow. So I've been coming up with those threads, and honestly, it's been fun. I've kind of liked it, but it's been time consuming because I've come up with a great twist on like the Strahd stuff, and like I love the idea, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is great. When I played Daggerheart, and I couldn't tell you the exact reason. I have my theories as to why, but when I played Daggerheart, I just don't do that. So I don't sit down for half an hour to an hour to beyond figuring stuff out and thinking about stuff and all that jazz. I just kind of like come up with some fun ideas and play the game to find out what happens. That's the biggest difference, I think. And both are fun. Like, I'm happy to do the prep in D&D and some of the world building and all that jazz. And I'm just learning about the setting of Ravenloft as well, because I've never played in it before. Daggerheart, you don't even have any settings, so you can't even do that. It's kind of just like, you're just kind of like throwing yourself in there. But yeah, that's my favorite difference. One is not better than the other in that respect. I cannot stress that enough. Where I think Daggerheart is better than D&D, like for me personally, this is all subjective. I prefer running combat in Daggerheart than I do running combat in D&D. I just find it more engaging for my brain, and there's less pressure on me running it. I feel like in D&D, there's this level of like, if a player is taking too long to take their go, and I can see other players getting bored, in my mind, I'm like, this is on me. I should be fixing this. Even though the player's taking too long, and this player's getting bored, why am I feeling guilty? Why am I feeling bad about it? And then I'm stepping in being like, just so you know, you're on deck, you're coming up next, figuring out ways to interact with this scenario. And in Daggerheart, I've never had that. I've never had that pressure or guilt for something my players are doing. It's much more open and honest. And if a player's taking too long in Daggerheart, I'm just like, just do whatever, or throw it to someone else. It's much more open, and the players are much more receptive to that. So yeah, I do prefer combat, but I have players who much prefer combat in D&D because it's more tactical, and they can do these big sweeping things, and they can put these plans in motions and kind of be like a strategist in a way that I don't think you can do as well in Daggerheart. So from a player point of view, it could be very different. So tomatoes, potatoes, potatoes. I could never go back to D&D Initiative. Well, I'll let you know how it goes on Friday. I do think there is a level of D&D where you can go into autopilot. I think that's where some GMs don't like Daggerheart, because in D&D, you can, by autopilot, I mean, you have the initiative. You're just going down the list, and then you go when the initiative tells you to go, and you do just what is on your character sheet for that creature. Like, the monster stat block. You kind of just do one of those things, and then it's the end of your go, and if there's another monster next, you do that thing, and another monster next, you do that thing. Or if it's a player next, it goes to the player. And you really don't have to think too much about it, and you're just noting down HP. In Daggerheart, there's a lot more thinking going on during combat. A lot less prep, I would say, before the game, but during the game, you are constantly being like, what makes this combat more exciting? What helps the story? What is best for this situation? I prefer that, honestly. I think for my brain, I like that engagement, and combat can go faster. I prefer to be engaged during that time rather than just going through the motions and waiting for other people to go. But I totally get how other GMs would just want to be like, nah, I just want to do what the initiative tells me to do and just go through the list for an hour and 45 minutes. It's beyond annoying in D&D when you want to buff an ally before they do a cool thing and you just can't because of the initiative order. Yeah, it's very, you get very locked in. It's not as liberating. I always find 5e combat stressful because I feel like I need to rush everything because the system doesn't engage players when it's not their turn. There's a reason D&D tubers have X ways to speed up. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, the speed engagement of combat in D&D is a problem at most tables, I think. If I meet a GM who's like, nah, it's pretty fast, I'm like, liar. Because there's no way that any GM in the world hasn't done a combat that has just been a slog. Like, it just happened. It can just happen. And that can still happen in Daggerheart. It's just way less likely, and you have the ability within the combat to change the pacing, which you can't really do in D&D. Like, depending on your fear usage, and the way you can come in and out of combat really easily, you have the ability to kind of just like speed things up or just move things along if you want to. I choose to activate and draw steel by reaction. Oh, you attack this guy. He didn't like that. Yeah, so that back and forth I like. And if draw steel has that kind of ability to just kind of be asymmetrical in that scenario, I like it. Because in D&D, combat is this weird thing where it brings the GM down to the same level as the players. And that doesn't exist in the rest of the game. It's like the GM's a god the rest of the game. And then in combat, they're still a god. But as a player in D&D, I'd feel like it's pretty unfair if the GM just started, making stuff up. There's something about combat that makes me, in D&D, want to be like, as a player, okay, this is a game, and we're pretty much playing chess. And you have to stick to the rules, DM, otherwise the whole thing falls apart. And I don't love that. I don't love that, especially because it's so different from the rest of the game. It's so different. I made a literal paper flowchart to run my monk fast on my turn. Jake, I freaking respect you, man. That's a good player. That's a very good player. Because I've had conversations with my wife about this as well, who is a very quick taker of turns now, but like these character sheets are not easy. And if you're just a casual player or someone who doesn't know the game that well in and out, and you're not like studying at every level up on what you can do, when it's your turn and you're looking at your character sheet and something else has just changed, you've got like 3 pages of character sheets and just like walls of text, and it's just not a simple game. Like D&D combat specifically is very complex. So I like that Daggerheart is slightly more simplified. Oh, that makes sense. I like that there's a player group decision for taking turns. Yes. Oh, actually, you want to know a legitimate, when you ask me, like, what's my favorite difference between D&D and Daggerheart? And it is something that is born out of the lack of initiative. Though maybe you could do this in other games. Maybe. But my absolute favorite thing about Daggerheart, absolute favorite thing, is the tag team role. By far. I think it's fantastic. I love it to bits. As a GM, I'm desperate for my players to do a tag team role. I'll like remind them about it if they're forgetting. And when they do it or they realize they can do it, their faces light up and they discuss it and they do something freaking awesome and epic. It brings the table together. Yeah, I do like the combo wombos. James, to be honest, I felt similar when learning about the in-depth lore of D&D. If it's present, but I don't know about it, I worry I'm missing out on not giving my players something cool. Yeah. D&D has a lot of content, and that is both a benefit and a negative. I love that. Spoilers, but not really. They did a presence tag team role in Age of Empires 2. Most people only think combat, but they are used outside of combat too. Yes. Yeah. Honestly, I like, if you narrowed it down to one thing, I'd just be like that. And I feel like everything else I love about Daggerheart branches away from that kind of mentality. Because it's epic, it's cool, it's narrative, it brings the players together, it's teamwork, but also tag team roles a little bit crunchy. There's a little bit of crunch there. There's resources you need to spend, there's specific things you need to do, and how you roll, and I think it narrows like Daggerheart down to like its core moving parts. Is there technically even a combat mode in Daggerheart? Like, you're not locked into it if it gets sloggy. There's not. And this is something that I have been thinking about, because in certain circles I will say still, like, Daggerheart combat. And I've had other people online on Reddit when people said something similar be like, actually there's no combat mode. You play it exactly the same as you do outside of combat. I disagree. I think there is a difference in how you GM as well, and certainly how the players are acting changes. And it's not like you roll initiative and suddenly you're locked into this different game. But I do think fight scenes should be a thing. It's like you're in a fight scene now. So the GM is going to be taking a lot more hard moves. Like, every time you roll with fear, the GM is going to probably be hitting you. And you're going to be losing HP. Like, the stakes are higher. So I think, for me, I'm going to continue to say that there is combat in Daggerheart. Like, there's fight scenes. There's these action scenes. Combat might be the wrong term for it. But I do think there is a kind of separate like entity that is these action scenes in there. You can come in and out of them very easily. But for me, it helps my GMing to think of it as that you are going into something and out of something, rather than just being like, this is how we play the game all the way through. But there are probably GMs out there who don't do that at all. They just play the same way all the time. And have no issue. Jake Burson, you're a great player, it sounds like. Yeah, I think you are, buddy. It doesn't help we play once a month. Yeah, your brain can't keep all that inside. Dude, I've like forgotten D&D. I'm like relearning D&D again. I've not playing it for a while. Not GM'd it for a while, to be honest. when it comes to the combo wombos mechanically, it's a big advantage to be able to pick your role too. So it has, yes. Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, I love a good combo wombo, and I feel, God, I don't remember the last time my players failed a tag team role. Thank God, because that must be the most like anticlimactic moment to be like, well, you do this cool combo and you miss. I'm sorry. But luckily, the fact that you kind of fundamentally have old school advantage in it is nice. Uh, 2 seconds. Literally 2 seconds. Apparently, One Man Relay subscribed to my channel an unknown amount of time ago, and I didn't say anything because I don't have my headphones on. I don't have the alerts up. Thank you for the subscription. Now I feel bad. Also, Mythical Sushi, thank you for yours. I think I thanked you for that though. Jake Burson, you got to go, but you leave with us up. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yeah. So, that being said, yeah, is anyone come in since I did it? Does anyone want to see anything inside here again? Or are there any questions? I just want to get the book back out again and check something out. I put this in badly. Let's do this. Oh yeah, I wanted to play with the fair trackers a little bit more as well, because I actually don't know how I feel about them currently compared to my traditional fair tracker. Dude, one thing I will say is that the whole box situation, very freaking nice. Very nice quality. Like, it's very fun to, like, open up and play with and stuff. Again, wait, so I got here after you were done going through the box? I'm gonna have to watch the VOD. Yeah, sorry, Millie. How long have you been around for? No, I wanted to avoid being one of those streamers who spends an hour not doing the thing that's in the title, so we did it pretty early on. If you're on YouTube, you should be able to just click back, though, and see the stuff. Do I think there'll ever be an Adventure League for Daggerheart? I don't know. Right, here, let me just try. So, my only problem with these is just putting them on easily, and it might be something that, like, the more I practice, the better I'll get at it. But the idea of just, like, okay, that actually works very easily. But the idea of just, like, slotting it on straight, that one also, that just slotted on, that did slot on. But if I just did it again, and that's... a little bit of an issue with that one. Okay, so they do slot on... No, maybe I was a bit too boisterous there. They do slot on quite nicely. But I do think I will be playing... If you think about it too much, it becomes an issue putting them on, but if you just go for it, they slot on. It's like running through the... what is it? The 9 3/4 Harry Potter platform. You kind of just have to go for it, and they slot on. I do think I'm going to be playing more with just sliding them. 2, 3. And it's kind of a pity. What's it look like actually? So one thing that I have on my abacus that's currently downstairs is on both sides, it's a thing that says hope and it's a thing that says fear. So that I, as a GM, knows which way I'm going. It's like, okay, so I get a fear, so it comes this way. You know, so I'm at 1 fear, and it would say fear here. I do. So without that, this is a little bit confusing. Maybe I will just take them on and off. It's not like you're taking a ton of fear off. Maybe you're like, I'm going to attack you, and then I'm going to attack you again, and then I'm going to make there be an earthquake, and then that's the end of my spotlight. And then someone rolls with fear, and you're like, okay, you roll with fear. Here's the complication that happens. So they are good. Oh, they are good. But I think most importantly, it's unlocked a whole new range of like accessories for them to throw out there. Use poke chips for your counter, and then shuffle them like in one of those old poker movies. I love that. Yeah, it's whatever the vibe is. It's whatever the vibe is. It's like the ability to slowly place something on here is nice, and slowly take it off when you do something is nice. Got here about 30 minutes ago and just fully thought you were doing the streamer stalling. No, I apologize. I went through it all. I can go through it all again now. Still Cage, what's up? You get your Deluxe edition tomorrow. Very, very nice. Oh, you're working now? Okay, well, have a good work time. But yes, I'll go through it quickly. So this is the GM screen. Mucho nicer. I'm not sold fully on the information on here, if I'm being completely honest. Half of it's good. Half of it I wouldn't have put on here. Some parts I would have made bigger. I'll probably do a full video on this. I want to compare it to the old GM screen because this feels very similar, if I'm being honest. And I won't be happy if it's exactly the same. I don't think it is exactly the same, but you know, I was hoping that they spent a long time kind of like working on this and fixing it. The book, very, very nice. Much thinner than the last core rulebook. Art in it is gorgeous. You have these frilly things like before. Very, very nice. The fair tokens you just saw. Very, very cool. In here we have character sheets and maps and equipment pages. We also have these adversary tabs, which I personally am going to find very useful. I might not even just be using them for adversary tabs. I might just be using them to create environments as well. And even NPCs and things like that. Just stuff I need to note down. It's very, very cool. Pulling this bad boy out. Got some gorgeous cards. What you would expect. Gold foil on his sides. And then... And I actually do want to look more at these again as well. So this is worth it. This set is a dice set. Standard dice set with duality dice as well. Yeah, these duality dice. These guys are... I don't know if I like the colour, but that's subjective. That's entirely subjective. I don't know if I like the colour. I don't know if I like that I can see the foil inside it too much. I preferred the set from the core rulebook. I think other people will love this though. From a distance, they're very, very nice. But just once you get up close and personal. But the D20 is chunky, which is nice. Kind of a specialised one. I rolled a 12. But you know, dice are dice. It's cool. It's cool we got some. And then in here is duality dice of every color possible, every color you can think of. These are very, very nice and very useful to have. And so I think what we got in the last one, in the last core rulebook, Deluxe Edition that's not here, we got action tokens. We got like action trackers and just tokens in general in the last one, which we don't have here, which is an interesting choice. Because those tokens are actually really useful, now that I think about it, for, you know, counting how many actions you have. Because they were all different colors. You had multiple of different colors, if that makes sense. So if you were a player and you were tracking actions, you'd be like, okay, I'm going to have 5 yellow trackers. And when I use all 5 of them, I can't use any more. So you'd be yellow, someone else would be red, someone else would be blue. I'm not that bothered that they're not in here because I have them from the last one. But if I was buying this and didn't have the last one, it would have been cool to have. How does the collector's box display sitting horizontal? Or can it also stand up? It can do both. It will stand up like a book. That's how I'm going to be displaying it anyway. Dice, fear tracker. Screen, so it would stand up like this. So it's roughly the size of a book. I mean, bigger than a book, but sort of stuff. Or you can set it around the other side for like a different color there, or you can lay it on its side like this as a box, which might look pretty good with the other one on top of her. Alright, let me have a quick look through here again. I'm going to presume everything is kind of the same as a standard book in here, except for the cover. Can't stress enough, it smells nice. And then what I was very interested in the PDF is just how many like how many pieces of equipment and items and loot they have in here. They really buffed that. They've really built that out in a really nice way. This is one of my favorite pieces of art in here. It's like, I don't think you can see it fully, but it's like an apothecary cabinet full of items from this list, and they're all like named. So it's just a really fun way of showing showing items all together in world. Adversaries, so many adversaries. Like, part of me thinks that this is just mostly an adversary book in disguise as like other stuff that was still in adversaries. And then what I wish we had more of still, we've got a few more, I wish we had more, the environments. My favorite environment so far, skimming through it, is Deadly Dungeon. So if your players ever go to a dungeon, it gives you kind of mechanics, like a countdown for how to navigate the dungeon. And then it's got another countdown for loot they can find there. It's got another mechanic for running into monsters. And it's got another mechanic for booby traps. So you've got traps. It looks like all the traps do the same damage. Physical or magic, GM's choice, and it gives you some like ideas for traps: swinging blades, a locked room slowly filling with water, a spike pit, that kind of thing, like hazards. Hold on, let me read this out. Booby traps reaction. When a PC fails an action roll to navigate the dungeon, right? So it's tied into the navigation feature. You activate a trap or hazard, such as a spike pit, gauntlet, swinging blades. Or locked room slowly filling with water. The party must succeed. So it's the whole party must succeed on a group action roll to deactivate, disarm, or escape it. On a failure, each PC involved in the group action roll takes 2d6 6 plus 3. So, interestingly with this, they have really simplified the idea of dungeon crawling, and they kind of make it a little bit less immersive. I think I'd have to play this a little bit to see how you can tie in just like the kind of environmental exploration and moving through somewhere and making choices as an individual player. Because this very much wants you to just be like moving around as a group and doing stuff and taking the penalties as a group as well for bad rolls, which does make things easier. But I don't know. What I want in environments is, so for me, the Deadly Dungeon environment would actually be multiple different rooms. Each room would be its own stat block, which if they did that, they would, they'd fill us out way too big. But having like individual rooms, one being an acid trap room with a puzzle, and it would have information about navigating the single room and dealing with the puzzle and dealing with all that stuff. But we'll see. We'll see. I've got to play with it first. I've got to test it. Random beach environment. Yes, there is the beach day environment. There's a few other interesting ones. Ocean Voyage looks fun. They've got a Vast Desert one. They've got Upscale Casino. They have Time Court. If you've been messing with time, the Time Court will step in. I've not read these yet, so I don't fully know what they're all totally about. Abandoned Mine, Alchemist's Abandoned Workshop, Cursed Graveyard, Raiding Party, Local Festival. So yeah, I wish we could get more like detailed and granular with environments. I understand why they haven't. They are useful to have there to fall back on, I guess, in situations. But yeah, they are what they are. And then the campaign frames I've not read through yet. Castle High, I'm most excited about. Reign of the Were-Dragon, I believe, is the one where you kind of create the bad guy, BBEG, with the players at the start, which I think is really fun. And then the Dark Heart of Andaloria, which is the kind of like gothic, grim, dark vibe. I really like this a lot. Like I said, I'm in D&D next week. I'm playing Ravenloft, which I think is these vibes. And then once I finish that campaign, it'll probably go like 8 weeks or something. I'm going to come back and play Daggerheart. And I might do this just to see how different it plays. Like a similar vibe, a similar world. But also, I'm looking forward to Journey of the Horizon, mostly just for the traversal rules in here. Don't know how I feel yet about how many more pages there are for the campaign frames. It feels like there's a lot more detail going into them, which, look, I like. One of the biggest issue with campaign frames from the core rulebook is there wasn't enough information. Like my first campaign frame was the Witherwild one I ran, and I felt like I wanted to know more about that world, and the information just wasn't there, and that was a pity. But when you go too chunky with it, I'm like, this feels less like a snapshot. This feels less like a give me a few pages and I'll run with it. This feels more like, okay, here's some homework to do. And I'm like, why didn't you just give me a setting? Just give me more of like an adventure. I guess that's what these are now, though. They're just turning into settings, which is fine. But I don't think it's what the campaign frames originally were setting out to do. I wish I got the first collector's box. I did not know I would like the game so much. Magus, I saw it in one of my local game stores, that they are selling it for like $1,000. So if you want it, you can get it from there. I just wouldn't. It seems extortionate to be able to buy this for $60 and then sell it for $1,000, but they're doing it. They're doing it. So if anyone wants to buy this, it's $3,000. I like that the campaign frames introduce mechanics for the game. Yeah. One thing I will say is that I wish the information. I think there's a lot of like GM tips and GM like optional rules and just GM material that could be used for the entire game system. A lot of that is like in the campaign frames, and I wish it wasn't. I wish, like, the original book, it listed throughout would be little tidbits of how to play the game or different ideas to play the game. Not really much of that in here. Not really that much of that in here, which is a shame, because that's what I'm most interested in. You know, options like how to spend fear. Like, give me more examples of doing cool stuff with fear. Maybe it is in there. Like I said, I've not read it page to page yet, but it doesn't feel as common as the core rulebook. God, my eyesight is so bad right now. You'll give me 1 US nickel? No deal. No. Not sold. The book doesn't have anecdotes like the first one. It doesn't seem to have just those little information on how to play the game. You know, because it all exists in the core rulebook. I understand why they've not done it, but I would have liked a little bit more of examples of play and stuff like that. But yeah, I am probably going to be doing a bunch of videos, I think, over the next. My game plan was to do a whole host of videos starting from the 1st of August all the way to when it's released on the 24th. And I was going to be doing like 2 videos a week, tons of live streams talking about it, community posts, shorts, all that stuff, really going for it. I was going to call it Daggerheart. Beg pardon. I was going to call it Daggerheart Month on my channel. But this has thrown a spanner in the works because it's come out early. So I just have to shift everything forward a little bit, I guess, and run it from now for, the next 20 days or so. I don't know if there's any content any of you guys are looking for in particular about the system. I'll have like a big review of it. I also want to do like a big review of just Daggerheart in general. Now that we've got this like as a system, because I think it's in a very different place now than it was a year ago. And maybe I'll do an actual play or 2, but that's dependent on other people in my life. But we'll see. Maybe I'll do some like ranking videos of the new classes, and new ancestries and stuff, or just the whole thing in general. Certainly the campaign frames, I think I could do videos on them. So we'll see, but I expect a lot of content in the coming weeks. It's pretty funny how the Enterprise stuff gets released unusually early every time. Yeah. Yeah, Australia got really early last time. What do I think is next for Daggerheart? Where from here? I think, I would hope what we get next is... I mean, I've been very vocal about this. I want settings. I want, maybe not adventures. I'm not that bothered about adventures, but I want settings. And my dream book would be an Exandria setting. Like Like take Taldore or Wildmount and put it in Daggerheart book form and make Exandria like an official Daggerheart world now. That would be amazing. What I really wanted, and that I am disappointed in, is I want lore. I want Daggerheart lore. And I understand why they don't want to do that, because, you know, it's your world. You create whatever world you want, you go ahead and do that. But I know they have people working on lore, right? It's like a big deal over there. And I know we have, like, there is like a Daggerheart, maybe not core world, but the way the world works. For example, you have the old gods and the new gods, right? You've got the forgotten gods and the new gods. You've got Aetheris. You've got like the demons. You've got angels. You've got this kind of like cosmic universe that is being built out, and I want to know more about it. And as far as I know, unless it's in the campaign frames, you don't really get any of that in here, which I think is a big shame. Because that's kind of what I want. I think what Daggerheart needs, I mean, it just needs to do what it's doing. It's doing very well. For me, what I would want is something to ground everything together. Like D&D has like the Forgotten Realms as its most popular setting, and it feels like a good grounding thing of when new people come to it, you can point them to that world and how that world works and be like, a lot of D&D you play will be variations on this kind of thing. And I wish Daggerheart had that thing to ground it. Under-promise and over-deliver, yeah. With campaign frames, it's kind of hard to deal with lore outside of a campaign setting. Yes, the campaign setting book that Crawford is working on. Yeah. Yeah, I know. But look, if you go online, everyone wants something different out of the game. Everyone wants something different. But everyone seems to be enjoying what they've done so far. So I do trust them. We know we're getting a lot more adventures that are being released for free over the next coming months. And we know we're getting Blood Hunter in some kind of horror-esque book that's going to be coming out. So we will have to wait and see. One thing that I'm scared about, not scared about, I understand it, it's probably better for the system. It probably is better for the system. But for me, as a fan, I'm scared we're going to have a very slow release schedule. I'm scared it's going to be like over a year before we see another official book. And then over another year before we see another official thing. I'm really hoping not. I'm hoping they up kind of the release schedule to maybe something every 6 months would be very, very cool. But we will have to see. You know, really feeling the edgelord classes and domains. Well, I kind of like him. Strong disagree. I love how flexible Daggerheart works across multiple lore. Yeah, I'm not saying like have stuff that's set in stone. I'm not saying this is how it's worked, but they already have said that, right? In the core rulebook, they tell you about the old gods and the new gods and how magic works. I want more stuff about that, because that stuff is kind of canon. Like what a warlock is, for example. What an Aetheris is, for example. You know, how healing magic works. All that stuff is kind of canon, and I would like to know more about that. At least how the developers are looking at it and thinking about it. Obviously, no one needs to play using those parameters, and campaign frames can vary wildly from them. But the fact that so many campaign frames have these optional rules that are tied to that campaign frame means that there's set rules that exist for everything, you know. Hey, I realized the PDF came out last night and stayed up way too late reading through it. Ooh. What did you think? There's a domain card called Blood Tree, for crying out loud. You turn a dead guy into a tree that bleeds and heals people who drinks the blood. Oh, man. Yeah, it's edgelord. You think PCs need more abilities to use? Maybe an expansion where players can choose more skill cards at levels. Yeah. Yeah, if you have players who have like played all the ones they have and are getting bored of the options, there's definitely a world where they can drop in and just make a few more cards for domains. You know? There's definitely a world where they could do that. They just build out domains a bit more. And I won't be surprised if they do that. I think they'd be more willing to make more abilities and cards for old domains than they would just making a ton of new domains. But yeah, we will see what they do with that. Make the setting with your table is part of the fun. Microscope style. So, okay. I agree with this. I don't mean... Setting's the wrong term. But law is different. Can I give you an example of what I would love... For example, I would love an example setting of that people can use. And I think... For me personally, if I could get an example pantheon, right? Give me a couple of old gods, a couple of new gods. Give me some deities that are like the kind of vanilla Daggerheart template that I could use if I wanted to. I think that's what I'm kind of saying. Because right now, I don't have anything like that. It's kind of... And I don't want to create a full pantheon with my players. I don't want to sit down and come up with like exactly how the world was created, you know? I would just like, you know, information about that. But I know that's just me. MCDM has been publishing a lot of adventures, but their rush is making the products suffer. The classes are great, but the adventures are mostly underwhelming. Better for Darrington to take their time. Yeah. I mean, the argument that people would have against Darrington is that they're barely releasing any adventures, though. Maybe there's a middle ground. The new classes were okay, but we already knew a lot about them, so I think it was that they didn't have the new factor. The new factor of the campaign frames and episodes hit me pretty hard. Yeah, when I was trying to like look through the book and come up with things for the review, I had, and I'll probably say this in the review, coming into it like as a fan and a GM and a player who has been on the Void and has played with all these characters, it is a little lackluster because it's not new. I've played around with it a lot. So I have to like take that hat off and look at it objectively and be like, okay, what are these classes actually like? Like, are they good? And the classes are very, very good. And they do fill out spaces that, like gaps that Daggerheart had in the core rulebook. So I think they're very, very good. I wish there was like one or two more classes. I think if they could have got Bloodhunter in here, it would have made the whole thing feel more fleshed out. I think the same about Ancestors. In fact, I want to pick your guys' brain on this because I don't know if I'm being silly or not. But when it comes to Ancestries, we get Aetheris, the elemental kin, of which there's 4, and the gnome. And the elemental kin to me, while it is 4 separate ancestries, it feels like it's just one. You know? It feels like they cut a corner. They took one and turned it into 4, and there's not the variety I would have loved. And I look at Aetheris and Gnome, And gnome, to me, is such a standard, like, fantasy species that I'm like, that should have been in the core rulebook. And then I'm just like looking at it, and the thing that gets me most excited is the Aetheris. But yeah, I kind of wish once again, 1 or 2 more ancestries, I think, would have fixed all that issue for me. And then I like the communities. I do like the communities a lot. But that's kind of been my biggest, like... Oh, and transformations, obviously. Transformations are fantastic. And there's kind of a world where you should... Because transformations, like, do change your character enough to be like, these are brand new ancestors. So if I think of it like that, because obviously if you're a shapeshifter, that kind of changes things completely. Acronite, I'll be honest, most of the new ancestries didn't hit for me. The elementals aren't my style. Gnome is okay, and yeah, should have been in core. Yeah. But then I don't know how much of this is just, it's lackluster because I've played with them all. I've seen them all for like the past 6 months. So it's hard to, you know, thread that needle. Oh yeah, I forgot, we've not talked about Summoner yet. How do you guys feel about the Summoner, if you've seen it? It's on the Void. It is very much the most simplified version of a Summoner I've ever seen. Not saying that's a bad thing, but you aren't really summoning individual creatures. You are summoning temporary effects. That you'll summon a creature to have an effect, and then it will kind of disappear. It's very simplified. I saw some people not be happy with it on Reddit. What ancestries am I looking for? That is a good question. I think I would have to think about exactly what I want for my ancestors. The problem, once again, is that they gave us so many in the core rulebook. The core rulebook was so good that this just feels lackluster. Which they shouldn't change anything. It's great. It's just, that's just how I feel. I feel I'm being a little negative though. I think the Book of All is great. Yes, Akron. Yes, this is. I hope this is a safe space. I think it's fantastic. I think it's fantastic. I like the idea of Summoner, but it feels shaky right now. The GM can't target the Summoner's shambling corpse. Why? Yeah, they'll fix it. They'll fix it. Just make sure you get your feedback in. You've been watching Age of Empires Stellar Lands, and like what I've seen so far. I watched episode 1. Holy crap, what a cast. What a phenomenal. Like, is it Jennifer English? Fantastic. Really fun cast. Yeah, I might watch episode 2 maybe tonight, probably tomorrow. But we'll see. We'll see. I've got a busy couple of weeks ahead of me, I think. And S-Man, I'd like a campaign book like Hot Spring Island, where it doesn't give you a story, just a lot of locations and scenarios and tools. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what I want. I want a setting. Give me settings. Give me a big setting book with tons of adventure hooks. Or a solid book of campaign frames. And just make the campaign frames even bigger. Solid. Daggerheart, I feel, is made to get people who feel D&D is overwhelming with rules and action economy easier to just play, where seasoned players and GMs just want more out of something that's kind of new. Yeah, I don't know about... I think what Daggerheart is... Because I think Daggerheart is actually very different from D&D. I think there are other systems out there that are way closer to like D&D that will give you that fix. I think Daggerheart very specifically, as a GM, is designed in a way that, to its core for me, is that like, as a GM, you're playing to find out what happens. Like, you don't know where this is going to go, let's go for it. I think it does that very well. You think Daggerheart is 5e players' first narrative game? I think there's a lot of people who play 5e just as narrative. Right? I don't think there's like a... I don't think D&D is not narrative driven. I think some people don't play it that way. But I think D&D is also a narrative game. Yes, yeah, the Keith Baker project, I'm very intrigued by. This guy gets it. I love everyone. Yeah. Pam, you just got here. Am I happy with their GM screen? Have you seen it yet, Pam? Have you seen the GM screen? I am okay with it. I'm okay with it. I think it looks really cool. I wish the information on there was slightly different. But I need to sit with it. I need to sit with it and really think about it. And play a game with it, I think, before I can truly say. Your favourite, Steve, got to actually play it before deciding whether it's good, though. Maybe it plays great. Yeah. I know you're talking about the summoner, but yeah, just in general. This whole video is that. It's fantastic. I've got to play with it. A game with a narrative isn't a narrative game. I guess I'm not getting into the pedantics of this stuff. Do a review on it on the GM screen. I will be doing. I'll be doing a proper review of all this stuff, I think. Yeah. My biggest fear is that the GM screen in here is exactly the one they're going to be releasing. And it's just nitpicks. It's me nitpicking. It's a good product. The longer I sit here and talk about it, I think just the more negative I'm gonna go. Just because that's kind of the way streaming works. But it's fantastic. So on that note, I'll end the stream pretty soon. But yeah, so any last minute questions before we wrap up for the night? Thanks for chilling, everyone, by the way. It's been a really good stream on YouTube, I think, by the looks of it. So thanks. And if you're new here, make sure to like the stream, maybe subscribe, maybe say hi, just a little hello. If you literally just came in just out of curiosity to see the box, let me know. Let's say yep. And I'm very interested if there's anyone here who just doesn't like Daggerheart, who have come in here just out of curiosity. And I'd love to know what you think of this situation, just to get a different perspective. The glitch, like, what makes their individual cultures different from every other race, not just elementals? Wait, what are you talking about? Elementals feel different in a generic way. Earthkin are defensive. Aetheris are more mobile. Ember can deal damage, and Tykin are unbalanced in favour of nautical arts campaigns. Yeah, Aetheris aren't actually one of the elementals. Elemental kin. But I think in general, like, they don't want individual species like ancestries to have cultures. You get your culture from the other options in there. Just came in to see the box and got here late. Well, there she is. In all her glory. In fact, let me put this away. Daniel, if you're on YouTube, you should be able to click back. On the timeline and just like scroll through and find the bits you want to see. Stay down now. Get down there. It's gonna look very nice on my shelf. Actually, I should keep the. Sorry. As soon as I finish stream, I'm going to go and read through this, so I'm going to keep this bad boy out. It is boxy full, it is. Yeah, I'll clip back after the stream. I appreciate that, buddy, thank you. The core rulebook is just a toolbox. Use the tools as you see fit. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, but it's funny because I'm terminally online, especially when it comes to Daggerheart, obviously for many reasons. And the things that get to me are like the negative attacks on it from people. And it's funny because there's always like a trending criticism of Daggerheart from people who just don't like the system. Usually people don't like the system, and I genuinely believe this. People don't like this system. There are people out there who don't like the system, as in like, I tried playing it, I don't mind it. But then there's other people who, like, every time they see like me make a Daggerheart video, will comment and be like, trash system, you know? They'll be like, you don't know what you're talking about, it's a bad system. And those people, I'm like, nah, there's some, you can not like a system and not think about it. But not only do you dislike the system, but it's like living in your head rent free. And those are people who don't like Critical Role or don't like Darrington Press because of politics. Normally, you know, it's the anti-pronoun group. We're just like, ooh, pronouns, no, thank you. But they usually there's a trending criticism, and when it first came out, one of the biggest criticisms that people didn't like the system for was because it had cartoony ancestors, you know, the Clanks, and like certain other ones where it's like, oh, I don't want to deal with those fairies, all that kind of thing. And then it became very apparent that like you don't have to use them. There are actually campaign frames that say you can't use certain ones. And then they moved to like different criticisms. I think after that, it was like the no initiative. People didn't like it. It's like, how are you supposed to play the game with no initiative? Just the really loud players are going to be jerks, and the really quiet players will never go. And it's like, okay, that is flawed in itself, because if people are being too loud and never letting anyone else go, then you talk to them about that. And if they keep doing it, like if they're doing it to be jerks, you stop playing the game with them because they're being jerks. And the quiet people, you've got the action tracker there for one, but for two, if the whole table is just looking out for each other, it's not an issue. And then I think recently the criticisms moved again. Crap, what did I hear most recently? There was the whole narrative, and that's why I shut down the narrative talk earlier. But people had serious problems with the fact that this wasn't narrative first, and they were getting so hung up on that term. And it's like, is it a good or bad system though? And they're like, that doesn't matter. It's not narrative first, and it's saying it's narrative first. And it's like, well, different people have different definitions of narrative first. I think it is narrative first. You think it's not. is it a good system or not? It's like, why it's not narrative first? It's like, that's not a criticism of the system. But yeah, there's always going to be something, I think. Always going to be something. People get addicted to hatred, and it's sad. Yeah. Brazilian here. I watch your channel and really love your content. I GM Daggerheart now, but I DM D&D for over 15 years, and your tips help some. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I just don't like how there isn't enough education tools available for the GM. Too many people don't know how or when to make GM moves. Yeah. Yeah, the Reddit, you do get people in the Reddit sometimes who just come in being like, the game is broken. Like, as a GM, I was too powerful. I just killed everyone by just spending fear on the same adversary over and over again. And then you're like, well, actually, you can only spend one fear on adversary per GM spotlight, unless there's like something in the stat block that says otherwise. And then they're like, oh, in which case I'm underpowered now. It's just like, well, you know. I hope maybe they can release a free downloadable supplement that has some tips for that. Yeah. Yeah, I would like some more GM stuff. I would like some more GM stuff. And they have, in Arsenal, they've been really good at giving out, like, the homebrew rules for free. And, you know, they have their, what's their, get your sheet together, right? Is there Daggerheart educational kind of videos? I would like more of those, honestly. Like, it doesn't have to be something that Darrington Press does in book form. It can just be like an online presence. But we'll see. I do trust them. I think it's just it's a slow build. I think it's a slow build. But it's still paying off. So hopefully this sells out really well as well over the coming weeks. I see people on YouTube after playing for a year talk about how after someone fails a roll, they will spot like 5 adversaries in a row. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can spot like 5 adversaries in a row, but they have to be different adversaries. Okay, I missed the whole stream. Can you unbox again? Yeah, Valak, no problem, buddy. Hey, welcome to the stream. So I got this early. No, I'm not doing the whole thing again, bro. Just click back on the timeline. Just go back. Just go back and watch it. It's simple. Get your sheets together would be a great space to make video for that, yeah. Well, I mean, look. I love telling Critical Role and Darrington Press how to do their jobs. You know, the incredibly successful company that knows seemingly exactly what they're doing and are doing very well. And me, just some dude who is like trying to get somewhere on YouTube and not doing as well, anywhere near as well. Badly, some might say. But I'm gonna say it anyway. Age of Umbra should have been released on the Darrington Press YouTube channel, or at least collaborated with them to bring people who like that Daggerheart content over to Darrington Press channel. I think it's kind of a crime that they haven't done that. I'm sure there's good reasons for it. I think it's probably that sponsorships are very, very good on the Critical Role channel and not on the Darrington Press channel. So they chose to do it there. And that money's going to go back into like reach and all that stuff. So I'm sure they're doing the right things. But I do wish that we got a Critical Role produced actual play professionally done on the Darrington Press channel. Because they could blow that up really fast if they wanted to. I think if they put Age of Umbra Season 2 on the Darrington Press channel only, they could smash their subscriptions past 100k and beyond. And then you've just got like a plethora of new audience for Darrington Press. But it's what it is. Harrison will Spencer, the guy at CQ Major Advocates. Hey man, how's it going? Every new one is designed with colours to go with the expansion, along with some distance sticks. Once a set, I can't accept anything right now, Spencer. But if throw me an email, and I'll look into it. But I appreciate that. Dang's Pass and Critical Role have been slacking. They took 4-month hiatus to get the sheet together. They kind of don't how to code a game as big as Daggerheart. Yeah, let them do their thing. Let them do their thing. They could do a little more to promote Darrington, to push it into Critical Role Viewer Eye. They did a bit, then it's fallen off. I think the goal is, and I think this is... I've come full circle on them playing D&D for Campaign 4 instead of Daggerheart. I now think that was the right idea. I think choosing to play Daggerheart instead of D&D for Campaign 4 would have done wonders for Daggerheart. It would have been very healthy for Daggerheart. I think it would have destroyed Critical Role. I think that they needed another big D&D thing. I think if they had just gone all Daggerheart and cut off all D&D ties, I think their views would have just been like, it would be 1/10 of what it was, and then their revenue would have been 1/10 of what it was. And Daggerheart's revenue might be double what it is, but Critical Role is their, like, the campaigns are their flagship product. So I get it. I do get that. It would have been financially irresponsible for them to do that. They would have had to, like, potentially fire a bunch of people who work for them and all that jazz. But I also think, going back to saying that, like, they could be doing more, I think they want Darrington Press and Daggerheart to grow and become self-sustaining, which I think it probably is, but successful and profitable on its own. I think they want to have it go through the work at the start and prove itself without, being a Nepo baby, fundamentally. It is a Nepo baby. We all know it's a Nepo baby. It's doing so good compared to other newer TTRPGs recently because of Critical Role's presence. But I totally get their thought process of, like, we want it to do well without us. We want it to be able to exist without us and not need us anymore. So I think that's why they're distancing themselves from it sometimes. And I think it's smart. I do. Leona, yes, I already got my deluxe edition. It came today. Yours hasn't shipped yet. Where are you, Leona? If you don't mind me asking, roughly. Don't give me an address, but just roughly. It would have been a lot riskier. It was probably the better decision to see how things settled. Yeah, I mean, you just look. I don't want to be the viewer Andy guy, but, like, you just have to look at the views that, like, Critical Role Campaign 4 gets, and then look at the views that Age of Umbra gets, and you can kind of figure out what would have happened from there. 6-7. The real question is if people want Matt back after Brennan leaves. I think they will. The real question is, will Matt want to come back? Maybe he likes being a player too much and doing the occasional mini campaign. I can only imagine how tiring, 10 years of being the GM for Critical Role must have been. With those kind of eyes on your playstyle, with that kind of pressure to be like a good GM, man, he must be very happy to be taking a break. That's a bad idea. There's no reason CR shouldn't capitalize on their own fame for their own game. They totally missed a lot. I mean, they're still doing that. You know, they did Age of Umbra Season 2. Currently doing Age of Umbra Season 2, and they did Season 1 as well. And they were also doing Get Your Sheet Together. But I also like... What happens if Critical Role goes away? Right? Well, you never know what happens. Like, it's the internet. Things have disappeared faster. It's incredibly unlikely that Critical Role could just, disappear tomorrow. You never know. They've talked about it in the past as well. Like, they don't want to be at the whim. Like, YouTube could change their algorithm so that D&D shows just don't do well anymore. They could change it so that, oh, now we need to all be doing videos that are 10 minutes long and only 10 minutes long. And then Critical Role are like, we can't do that. And if Critical Role just starts struggling or disappears or whatever, like, I personally want Darrington Press and Daggerheart to be okay. I want it to be able to sell and be successful. So, yeah. Yeah, like, learn to ride the bike without the extra wheels on. Age of Umbra isn't campaign 4, and some people only watch Critical Role's premiere product. Yes, but compare Critical Role to their other mini campaigns then. No, compare it to Calamity or something like that. Age of Umbra to Calamity. I'm just saying, there are a lot of people who watch Critical Role because they are fans of D&D, and they don't really care as much about Daggerheart. It's just the case. It's just the case. And as a YouTuber, if they start making something that people don't care about, and people don't click on it, their channel goes poof. So... took a whole year after Season 1 to release Season 2 of Age of Umbra. Yeah. I think they planned Season 2 to come out at the same time as this. Right? I think that was the intention. I don't think it was like it took them that long. I think this was like a marketing decision. But look, we're never going to know. We're never going to be privy to the inner workings of the company. Not fully. So everything we're talking about here is kind of just like guessing. Heart of Daggers, good morning from Australia. Good morning. How's it going? Haunted Heathen, thank you. Welcome in. Pixie, I want to see Matt and Brennan behind the same screen, sort of tag teaming a campaign. I would like to see, yeah, a 2GM campaign. That's why they made Beacon. Yes, that is exactly why they made Beacon, to get away from that stuff. Yeah. D&D official campaigning YouTube does not get as many views as Critical Role. That should say something. Oh, the D&D official campaign? Yes. Yeah, I saw like the thing there where their first couple of episodes were doing really well, and then the last episode just did really badly, and that was curious. That was curious for sure about why that happened. You'd think if everyone watched 7 episodes, they'd watch the 8th episode. Official maybe viewbotting, says Haunted Heathen Gaming. But it's still good to watch. Dude, I like that official D&D campaign, but for me, the editing is way too aggressive. It is like, I presume they take 3-hour sessions and cut it down to like an hour. And there's just I think so much of it's lost. They do a thing, I think it's in that Innsmouth mini like arc, where at the end of one episode, there's this like cliffhanger where one of the characters is talking to another character and has this really cool idea. And it's this moment where they're like, I'm going to try something. And they try it and it ends. We don't know if it succeeds or not. And then the next episode starts and they're somewhere else. It just skips that whole scene. And that, I'm kind of very annoyed by that. Because I wanted to see what happened. And it's kind of like they just on to the next thing, on to the next thing. They won't mind. And it absolutely baffled me because I'm like, what happened to that scene? Did it just go nowhere and you just didn't want to waste time? Or was there issues with the recording? Like, where did that whole scene go? And if so, why did you build it up? I guess because it made a good cliffhanger. Yeah, it probably gets chopped and edited by the boss in the back watching. I have no doubt that they're trying to appease the YouTube algorithm, which is smart because the YouTube audience does not want more 4 or 5 hour long sessions. They just don't want it. They want something shorter, so they're trying to make it shorter. But at what cost? At what cost? So I don't know. I don't know what the secret formula is to make a D&D show like YouTube friendly. Well, I don't know. I don't know how you do it, but it's certainly not chopping out so much stuff that you just miss out that feeling of like hanging with people playing D&D. Alright, on that note, I am going to end the stream. But guys, thank you so much for checking out. Thanks for checking out the unboxing. It's been a pleasure, as always. And yeah, hopefully you'll get more Daggerheart content very soon. Hopefully more streams. So make sure to follow, both on Twitch and on YouTube. And what does that say? What just happened? Did someone else subscribe? Haunted Heathen Gaming, thank you for the follow. That probably happened a while ago, but I missed. A bit lol, my bad. Yeah, like I said, different setup situation. Alright guys, yes, catch you soon. Have a good night and happy Daggerheart month. I've got to end the stream over there, so bye.